did not read as many books I had thought I would, but I'm right on track. And if you would like to see which ones I did and which ones I didn't, let's update my reading journal and let's get going. What's up everyone, this is Priya here. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning. And if this is the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Here I share tips, ideas and inspiration to make your planner and journal spreads pretty and functional. I'm using the same journal, the reading journal that I shared the initial setup of. And if you've been following me for some time, you know how I'm continuing to use the same journal I used for my 2025 setup. And I'm just making sure the bookmarks are in place. We'll start by updating some of the books that have been announced for the Reese's book club. And if you see me stop and check, I'm just making sure I have the correct name. And I have also started using some of the fountain pens. And if you are somebody who likes to start with something basic, I have this particular pen, which is like very inexpensive, very smooth to write. And I'm not filling up these ones for now. And I'm getting to the books read. So I'm going ahead and filling some of the information that I have entered on my Goodreads profile. And if you want to come check out and join me closely, you might want to follow me on Goodreads. And I have all the links and all the ways you can reach out to me. And if you like to see creative ideas to try for your journal spreads or planner spreads, whether it be for a reading journal or for any other journaling setups that you have going on in your life, you might actually want to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell notification so that you can be sure you would not miss out on any of these. And as you know, I have my book covers all printed. And I did share a couple of ways in which you can print your own book covers. So if you notice, this is where I'm going to be having the slightly bigger book covers. So this is 4 inch by 5.5 inches and I print them on sticker paper. And that I found is the easiest way to make sure that I have a good, beautiful cover. And I'm just trying to just peel off the backing and just stick it down nice and simple. And if you would like a proper tutorial on how you can do book covers multiple ways, like I had shared how you can do the covers on your HP Sprocket, and a lot of folks were interested in that because they had that device. But if you are not somebody who does not have that handy, you can always use a regular printer. And I also sometimes come and I use a MacBook, so I have the keynote or just the file section. One of the very basic things you can work on to get your book covers printed if that's what you prefer. So I'm just putting down everything that I read in January and February. And for March, I'm starting off with the very last book I stuck down there. So I'm just going ahead and going through the books read section because I had a small miscalculation there. So I did complete that, and you will see how I'm using the click art pen to fill in the star rating for the books. And I usually use a stamp for that purpose, for the stars. And I have linked all the products that I possibly can find. If not the exact item, I'll have something similar. And I was traveling, I had been away for some time, so I did not get to read a lot of books. And then by the time I came back, some of my books got returned automatically because it was due on Libby. So I did not have a very, very busy time reading in January, but that's fine. Life happens. I'm not fretting over it. And this is a very therapeutic way for me to get back to my reading. And I'm not beating myself up for the books I did not read, because that's not the whole intention, right? This is meant for me and tracking down whatever I need read. So it should not be a stressful task. And I'm using some of these older washi tapes from the washi tape shop. And sadly, this used to be the time when they did not have the pre-cut versions. And I'm using the gyro cut to cut around the elements I want to bring in. And that cutting mat, along with the scissors and tweezers and all that, are from Journal C. And my code Priya can earn you 8% off at Journal C. While the washi tape shop, Archer and Olive, where the journal is from, my code Priya10 can earn you 10% off. And there are lots of products I'm getting to use here, so I will have all the correct names in the description so that you don't have to just worry about memorizing the names or anything. So you can see how I'm trying to also bring about a balance of the things that, and the colors in fact. And I'm going to use some reviews, and I'm also trying to bring a lot of the celestial kind of themes with this. And if you notice, this video I'm filming over a span of a whole week. So this is the time when we had some tension in the area where I currently reside. And this is in fact a tape from Quirky Collective, and it's an Aussie brand. And I had picked up a couple of their gorgeous journals earlier, but this time I went a bit overboard. I had picked this up in 2025, and I'm going to use that washi tape, which is a bit on the celestial theme. So I'm trying to pick elements that would go with the books or the themes of the books that I'm trying to read. And this is the set of stickers or sticker strips. These are complete holographic foil. And I'm trying to decide which one I can use, because I'm not sure it looks great on camera. And but in real life, in person, it's really gorgeous. So coming back to the setup and what I had been going through for about a week, it was one of the toughest times I have encountered, because I just couldn't focus. Because there was a lot of tension, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot was happening with the unrest in the Middle East. So I was just trying to make sure that I get to the things that I need to do, because people and friends and family from all over the world were reaching out, just checking on me and making sure we are all right, because not all the news that comes out of the media is true 100%. So it does get a lot of people worried. So they were just reaching out, just making sure that I am safe. So it was just not the ideal time for me to sit and focus, because that was just not happening. Because you need a certain amount of predictability, I should say, and the atmosphere or the mindset to be able to focus. And I was just trying to make sure that I remain calm for my child, for my son. And it was not the easiest week at all. And here I'm using another pen, fountain pen, from a Japanese store called Komoribi. And this was, I think, one of their Mount Fuji designs, and this was so pretty. So, the first book I'm getting to is called To the Moon and Back, and this was from one of the Reese's Book Club picks. And if you see me stopping, the reason is that I'm just referring to my notes that I have on my device, and I like to look back. And then I do sometimes make some changes as I put them down or pen them. And this is about a Cherokee girl, and she aspires to be an astronaut. So it is, again, Native American stories have always interested me because that's one side of that tribe, or the set of folks on the planet which we have very limited information on. So it is always nice to look at things from their point of view. And I'm just trying to make sure I did not miss any things to check off in the bingo card. So every time there is a Native American story or a backdrop or a background, then I think you do get a new insight or a new perspective on how life is for them, which could be different from what the outside world thinks. So that is always a great way of getting to know something new about a different culture, different sect of people, and the struggles of girls who really want to do something different. So that was all really a very nice part about such books. So again, trying to focus was really hard, but luckily I had finished off the books. But actually doing the pages, writing down the reviews, and just trying to focus based on my ability to sit down and fill in these pages was the struggle. So I'm using this stamp that I think I'll link it for you if you are ever wanting to pick that up. And coming back to the unrest in the general area where I'm at, hats off to the armed forces who work day in and day out to keep us all safe. I'm not a citizen of this country, but I'm just a resident, a legal resident. So even for us, we think, and we know that we are safe in this country. So that is a really great sense of confidence that is passed on to the residents. That is not something every country does. So I'm really glad I'm here. But things are not always that predictable. The school is online. I don't get to go out much, which is all understandable because these are all unforeseen circumstances. Nobody saw these coming. On to the last book, which is another romantasy one. And this is book two of the Crescent City. It's a House of Sky and Breath. And again, I'm going with some fantasy theme like the dragon and the castle. And it is, again, if you have been following my reading journey, you see how I like the author again. This was another author introduced to me by my friend Yana. And Bryce Quinlan and Hunt Ethel are trying to get back to normal. And they may have saved the Crescent City, but with so much upheaval in their lives lately, they mostly want a chance to relax, slow down, and figure out what the future holds. And it is, again, if you have been following along with the story, and if you like the whole theme of the book, then you will love this book. So I brought in some lace washi at the bottom. That's from Washi Tape Shop. And I brought in that castle and the dragon are from Journal Say. And I'm also using some of these floral washi stickers from the Washi Tape Shop. So I'm trying to create that illusion of decorating the corners, not exactly the symmetrical opposite corners, but somewhat of a similar coverage, as in symmetrically, not the exact opposite, but yeah, so just trimming off the excess, if you know. And just a couple of books left in this whole series, and I think it will be possible that I will complete the series soon. So it is always nice when I can just finish off the series and the series tracker, which I will fill later on. And you can see how I'm trying to figure out what elements I can bring in, also trying to balance some of those colors. And let me know how your reading journal is going, if at all you have a reading journal for the purpose. Do you use a bullet journal like I'm doing here, or do you just use like a pre structured, pre printed, pre set up done for you? And let me know how many books you have read so far, if at all you keep track of that. And if you are somebody who likes to keep track of what all the other folks in your community are reading, please make sure you check out my Goodreads profile. You can become friends there. Just send me a request. And please find all the videos I mentioned along with the earlier setups and the upcoming releases, the shops, the codes, all of that useful stuff in the description. And please come follow me on Instagram. I do share more spreads and more sneaks, even if they don't quite get YouTube videos. And please make sure that you pick up any of these books that you may have gotten curious about hearing my summaries. I will try and link all the books that I have read, and I like to do that with every reading journal setup, even the previous ones. So on to the next book, and this one is kind of a fantasy kind of genre, and I like to just make sure that I have the correct headers or whatever for all the things that I do. So this would be the February that I will be doing, because January was really easy, just a couple of books, and that was it. And coming back to these alphas, which are from Journal Say, and I'm going with the same purple and green theme, if you notice. And I'm also using the stamps and washi tapes from Notebook Therapy. And I intentionally wanted the alphabets to be in different lengths and not a straight line. I wanted a zigzag kind of placement, so that's why I decided to place the E a bit off that straight line. And I'm using the Spring Cafe from the Washi Tape Shop. And this is the PET version. And let's see, how many books do we have? And then for the space outside of the book covers, I will bring in some decorations and also some of the other prettying up of the page can be done. And I'm using the next set of books, and this is, again, I like to keep it very simple with this. And this month, luckily, I got to more books which I'm glad. And was just finishing off with my last book when all the unrest happened. And I'm glad that I had read a good number in Feb. And I'm on to doing the stamping. And this is just the basic layout that I'm going with. Using my rating system again. I use the Peach system. I don't have the Peach system, the rating sticker printed like I normally used to. And the Peach system is definitely from Erin at Erin Smith, and she uses the same system. So I just thought that made most sense to my brain. And let me know in the comments what rating system you follow for your reading or books. And you don't necessarily have to have a structured kind of rating system at all. But I thought that it made more sense for my brain. So if a different system makes sense to you, please by all means do that. And this is the cover page for February. And let's throw in some more of these florals just to bring about a balance. And I think on the right page, we need some more of that green because there's already the green from all the alphabets on the left page. And the colors look a bit off balance, right? So yeah, let's bring in that. And if you notice, these are washi stickers, so it's really thin. And you do not have to worry about adding a lot of bulk to your journals. And I have a lot of setups for daily journaling and all the other simple journaling practices that we could incorporate into your daily life. I have lots of setups on that. And if you are ever wondering what my journals look like, please check out the full playlist. And we will get to the review pages now. On to the first book, which is a very interesting read. It's called Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher. And this was an author introduced to me by one of my friends, Yana. Thank you, Yana. And I've been really loving this author. And this is actually a pen name. And I found it very recently that this was a pen name. And this is about a princess trapped in a tower, and this isn't her story. It is about toddling, and on the day of her birth, she was stolen from her family by the fairies, but she grew up safe and loved in the warm waters of fairyland. Once an adult, though, the fae asked a favor of toddling: return to the human world and offer a blessing of protection to a newborn child. Simple, right? But nothing with fairies is ever simple. Centuries later, a knight approaches a towering wall of brambles, where the thorns are as thick as your arm and as sharp as swords. He has heard there's a curse here that needs breaking, but it's a curse toddling will do anything to uphold. It is a fantasy, a horror, a fairy tale, a retelling, and it's a very interesting read. And I really liked how it was. And on to, yeah, I thought these were some decorations that really does go well with our theme and a book, because we do have a tower and we have something related to that. So going with the stamping again. And the flying fairies are in fact from the notebook therapy. The set I think it's called Secret Garden or something. And I just picked up the entire set. It comes with a travel journal, some stamps, and some washi tapes, and also a traveler's notebook. I'm yet to use the traveler's notebook, but I think it will be very well used. So I'm writing down my thoughts. And again, these are all non-spoiler reviews, which I think is important, especially when you have so many people watching this. And if you are interested in the book, I think you should go check it out for yourself and not be put down or anything, because spoilers are not for everybody. And I really would like to keep it to some of the simple basic stuff, the storyline, and just at that, and I will stop, because yeah, you need to, if you like such genre, I think it's a good book. And I usually keep track of all the reading that I do on Goodreads. And let me know if you have some other ways of doing so. It is interesting to see how there are other platforms. I think I've heard about Storygraph or something, and then there are other websites where you can keep track of what you read, and there are Goodreads. That way is just very basic. There is no detailed way, at least to my knowledge. And please fill me in if you like any particular system that you use to keep track of everything that you read. And it is always nice when other readers tell me about things I didn't know existed. And I liked how the tower and the ferry and all of those, I do have the correct stickers to use for such books. And for Journal Say, all of these stickers are from Journal Say. And they do come out with lots of amazing themes, and it's fairly inexpensive. So I think it is important that you check out the store, because over a certain amount, 29 US dollars, so they ship international for free. And it's always nice when you feel like it's Christmas morning when you open the box. For not much money, you have lots and lots of stationery to play around with. And let's see, the next book is called Vegetarian. And as a vegetarian myself, this book was very interesting. And I liked how, in such a world where there are, I think the majority in the world are meat eaters. And as somebody who stopped eating meat, even when I was eating, I it was not very every day, or it was not that I was like a full-on meat eater. Once in a while, if at all, that's it. So, as somebody who turned vegetarian long time ago, this book was a very interesting book, because cultural differences. This story happens in to Japanese people. So just imagine what the cultural reaction is going to be, especially when you have such importance for seafood and all the other animals, I think. And these are all washi tapes from the washi tape shop, and I've also used the Sweet Spring from Planything. And my code Priya10 can give you 10% off there as well. So I'm going to use this stack of books, kind of bookshelf kind of washi tape, also from Journal Say. And I like when I can bring in some interest with some washi tapes like so. And I'm also bringing some of the washi tapes, and I'll also bring maybe some animals on the other side as well. And I also wanted to see if I can bring in maybe like a lady, because it is about a lady who uh, decides to, she starts having nightmares because of all the animals she had eaten in her lifetime. So that is the place where things start to change, and it's about a couple, and then the husband starts noticing, and he informs the lady's parents, and I can relate to a lot of things that could possibly happen, because my culture, I think, being a vegetarian is pretty common. As a Hindu myself, it is pretty common, but in other cultures, when their food is very different, very meat based, and more of the meat, then it becomes a bit of an issue, and accepting is not as easy as you think it will come to them. So it was very interesting. If you have not read that, and this is like a fiction, a horror. It's a different kind of genre, because you're dealing with some mental health issues, and then you do get a peek into some of the Asian cultures if you have not seen that. And it's also the winner of the Nobel Prize. So it's a very different kind of book. And if you are somebody who likes that genre, is trying to understand a bit of such things, then this is a good read. And this was, I think, one of the recommendations from one of the interviews I was watching. It was, I even forget who it was, but I was watching somebody's interview, and this was one of the book recommendations. I don't even remember whose interview it was. And even moving with the whole storyline, you wouldn't, especially me, I wouldn't think it would have such an impact on somebody's life when you decide to just give up on eating meat. And this was very eye-opening, and I just kept wondering, oh, really, these could be things that might be happening in other cultures. And I found the events very, very interesting. I'm not sure if it's a real life event or set of events. I'm not quite sure about that. But I think it is a very interesting read if you like such topics. So let's see. What else now? Next book is, yeah, let's go vertical this time. And I would like to combine it with this. Yeah, let's do that on either side of the page. Usually I do all vertical decorations, so I think I will go with the vertical one right next to each other, just keeping it fairly simple, keeping it very minimal. And then we have, because every theme I like to bring about some elements that would go with what the book tried to portray. So that's kind of my thought process. And let me know if you have a thought process behind how you pick elements for your decorations, if at all you do. And let's see, let's bring in some stamps now. And this time I'm going with the Coat of Frost and Starlight. Going with my stamps again. And the Coat of Frost and Starlight is it's a it's part of a sequel, or it is a sequel rather, and this is book number 4. And this was the nominee for the reader's favorite young adult fantasy and science fiction. And again, if you are familiar with the series, you know that you have Faye and the Rysand and their friends, and you know the whole plot, and you know how every book deals with something related to the war that happened in their kingdom. And the winter solstice approaching, and with that, it's finally the joy of the hard-earned reprieve. And it is again a very, very, very fantasy related one. You could also call it romantasy, which was quite popular even last year with the Iron Flame and the Fourth Wing and all of those. So I'm trying to also bring some of these stickers, and yeah, just throw in a couple of stickers from there. And let's see. So now, once I finish with the decorations, I like to go back to the Goodreads thing for actual reviews that I have jotted down there. And I think bringing in some more of the ivy will definitely help with balancing some more of the green. And let me know if you like to tilt your book a bit, just the way I did, or do you like it to keep it straight? I think I can write neater with the book tilted a bit, and my handwriting is definitely better with gel pen. The fountain pen, there is every tip is different. You just need to start getting that feel for the fountain pen and the tip and the pen, and it is always a bit of a learning curve. And this one has been really working great. And these have the cartridges, so I just insert the cartridge. But I know refilling the cartridge is not that big of a deal. So I hope to be able to do that for the refill part, because otherwise buying the cartridges is not always the cheapest alternative. So this is the next book, and I'm using the spring edit from Live Love Posh along with some of the washi tapes. And let me know if you picked up the sticker book, or if you are wanting to pick up the whole sticker book, then you might actually want to wait until mid-March or so, or at least in March the restock should be coming. And this is, I'm just layering the two washi tapes to bring some interest there. And should I go for the same layering action at the top as well? Because this is again another Freda McFadden book, and I went with what was available on Libby, and I picked something. Freda McFadden, I'm ready for it anytime. So I just picked up the Surrogate Mother, and I wanted to bring in some of the vibes that I got from the book. And don't forget to check out this shop, Live Love Posh, because when I last checked, the spring edit was sold out, but a restock should be coming if I'm not mistaken. So any information regarding any of that will be in the description so that you can grab it right away, because set your alarms. The box sets are going to be sold out very soon. so you might want to set your alarms for those. And there is also a Laurel Denis release coming in March. I'm just sharing a quick set of releases that are coming, and there will be the Mojo Jojo Plans release, the monthly releases. The first Friday of the month is when Mojo Jojo Plans does her restocks and the monthly releases, new releases plus the old restocks. All of those happen. And I'm not sure when you will be seeing this, but whenever you do, please make sure that you check out the shop. And Planning Things should be having their sub boxes dropping every first, and the March one was beautiful as well. And please make sure that you shop using the affiliate link in the description. And if you don't need to buy, please do not buy. I'm not trying to force it on you, just trying to let you know that these are the options available for you to check out. And for anything other than current subscription boxes, my code Priya10 can give you 10% off. And it is nice when you can save a few bucks, and it does give you more money to stretch out and buy other stuff, right? So here I'm going with a purple ink filled in my fountain pen. So this was again one of my older favorites back from my high school days. And this is called a hero pen that we used to get in India. And I liked how they still have it, so I grabbed it. It's not very expensive either. This used to be my prized possession back in high school. Not everybody could afford a fountain pen, so it was nice. And the Surrogate Mother is something very it could be a bit of a sensitive issue for a lot of people who have infertility issues and who are trying to look for fertility treatments, adoptions, and all of those. And then it is a bit of a trigger for some people, but it is a mystery thriller, a suspense. It's a psychological thriller also. And after a lot of failed attempts, Abby wants to have a child, and so she decides to have her assistant be the surrogate. And then it turns out Monica isn't who she says she is, so there is a lot of uncertainty, as with all Freda McFadden books. And then everything falls into place. And I like Freda McFadden and her style of writing. So on to the next book. And this is again one of the other kind of I'm trying to bring some of the windows as well. And I like to go with the theme we have. And the ivy could be right beside the window, and I like to kind of make sure I trim where there are new leaves coming out or whatever. So that's my way of trying to see and make sure that the ivy doesn't look like it's sticking out of nowhere, you know. So we have some of the lights also, some of those lanterns with flowers on them. And we have some of the spring PET stickers. It was a spring awakening or something from last year from the washi tape shop. And this is the Four Winds, again another Kristen Hanna books. Very, very well, it's not a light read. None of Kristen Hanna's books are. And I read The Women last year, and I've been wanting to do the Four Winds and a bit of the stamping went on to the sticker, so that's why I'm putting a scrap piece of paper and making sure I have the stamp on extended onto the other side, because one star was to be accommodated. So that is where we are. And this is about the Great Depression in the US. And this was again a very interesting time period, because you do have the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl era, and you have people who are struggling to survive. Texas farmers with the drought and all the things, the famine and the dry weather, and it was a tough time. I've heard about it, but then going through the story as a day-to-day struggles, as they explain, and how the mother took her kids all the way to California, and how they were trying to survive with them being exploited for less wages, all of those struggles that can be associated with depression, because people are losing their jobs and there is no money, there is no rains, means the harvest is bad. So all of those gave me a very good insight into that era. So it was really interesting to see how things were and how bad things were back then, and then trying to survive on a day-to-day basis, trying to live or survive rather in a refugee camp, and the struggles the kids go through, even as small kids had to work in the cotton fields. All of those, it can be really enlightening. All of Kristen Hanna's books are. So I can read maybe one or max maybe two books a year, because it is pretty heavy. And I love her books, so I would like to take the time to go slow with them too. So if you have not read any Kristen Hanna books, I think you should. And if you have read any of her books, let me know which one your favorite is. And please make sure that you subscribe to my channel and you turn on the bell notification, so that you can be sure you do not miss out on any of the future ones coming. And thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.